This is Asutsuare, an industrial town in the Suruku district of Ghana in the Greater Accra region. It once stood as a proud symbol of Ghana's industrial drive, home to one of the nation's earliest sugar factories, the Asutsuare Sugar Factory, owned by Ghana Sugar Estate Limited, Gazelle. Established in 1965 by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the factory was built with the capacity to crush 2,000 tons of sugarcane per day. For years, it flourished, creating jobs, stimulating local economies, and positioning Ghana as a player in the global sugar market.
I am Honorable JWK Tettehfio, the first assemblyman for Asutsuare electoral area and a former worker of the Ghana Sugar Estate Limited. In 1965, they started the factory. In 1966, they did their first test run for the factory to take off. So the president promised, by then Dr. Kwame Nkrumah promised that he was going to Hanoi to come so that they will come and commission it. Unfortunately for us, he was overthrown in the 1966 February coup. But the factory continued. So the people who came to put up the factory were called SICOP. They came from Poland. So after they completed the factory, they handed it over to GWK, Ghana Industrial Holding Corporation. They took over. But in 1973, the Dutch company, they came, and then they came and took over from GWK. So GWK handed the factory to them with LI 169 of 1973. They handed it over to the Dutch, and they gave the name Ghana Sugar Estate Limited, Gazelle. Oh, working in the factory, I worked there as an instrument technician. It was marvelous.
But by the 1980s, the sugar factory's operations came to a halt. What followed was a slow decline. Between 1996 and 2000, the majority of its assets were auctioned off.
So we operated, but the factory itself, in its generation, it was not commissioned officially. So we were on and off. The government was supporting on and off until finally it collapsed because the black management who took over from the management of the Dutch in 1977, they could not sustain the pressure, and the factory totally collapsed around 1983, 1984. After the collapse of the factory, all these things were auctioned. They were auctioned, and people came to buy them, and they're taking them away. That's why you can see that the factory there is now empty.
All that remains today are the skeletal structures, relics of a once bustling industrial hub, silently echoing the past. These rooms you see in the photos were once at the heart of production, bustling with workers and machinery. But today, they stand as the last visible reminder of a legacy nearly forgotten.
The only mismanagement led to the collapse of the factory. I worked with the Dutch. They employed me. So after their contract was abrogated in 1978 by the Achampon regime, and they were sacked, then the black management took over, pure Ghanaians. they took over and they led the factory to that abyss. I agree with what the former president, Dr. Nkrumah, said. You see, that the black man is capable of doing anything. I believe in that kind of theory. But some of the management that took over at the time were greedy. So they were selfish. They were only fighting for themselves. We were not fighting for the party. And you see that when the Dutch were here, they came and rehabilitated the factory with their parts, their spare parts. Now when they left, you sack them, their parts, they will not give you their parts again. And that's why the management could not go in for any other country. Because you can't use any counting parts for the maintenance of the factory. That led to the whole thing. So it was totally mismanaged.
Following the collapse, ownership of the remaining land and buildings was transferred to the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, GIDA, now IDA.
And it was part of their facilities and infrastructures. That's why I used to create the senior secondary school, the Asutsuare Senior Secondary Technical School, now called Usudoku Senior Secondary Technical. So it is the facility of the castle that I used to create to establish the secondary school for Usudoku.
My name is Moses Smart Agamah, and this is for Usudoku TV.